The Ford Expedition is one of our favorite big SUVs, and it's the beneficiary of a refresh that made it even better. Mostly. For a 3-row SUV that can tow 9,600 pounds, the Expedition drives small. The front wheels crank over far enough that it almost feels like 4-wheel steering when you're parking. The Stealth Performance package includes continuously controlled dampers that deliver a nice ride without feeling like you need Dramamine in the corners. And even if you don't opt for Stealth Performance or a trim with the high output engine, the base V6 still makes 400 horsepower, so you won't have any trouble merging. From 2025 on, Expeditions have this separate tailgate. I love this development. A, because it's just fun to have a tailgate, but B, it's functional and it's all set up with, you got a power outlet back here. You've got, this is a table that you can fold out, and what's under that? Oh, is that a built-in cooler? I think it is. And I'm sure you can hear your 22 speaker B&O sound system just fine back here as well. The interior also got a redesign with a new power adjustable console, a 2-tier screen setup, and a squircle steering wheel. What's a squircle, you ask? I'll explain. Not quite a square, but not a circle. The squircle is a shape that we associate with performance cars like the Corvette. What's it doing here? Well, the Expedition is kind of a sneaky performance machine, especially when it's equipped with the Stealth Performance package like this one is. The downside of the squircle is that not being a constant radius, as you're turning it, you're not quite sure exactly where your hand is supposed to land. Sometimes it's up here, sometimes it's here. You know, that's what you fumble sometimes when you're in a parking lot. But when you're just going down the road, look at this, nice and low right here. The 3.5 liter turbocharged V6 makes 440 horsepower. In our testing, this big lug hit 60 miles an hour in a fairly ridiculous 4.9 seconds. Here we go. And we're at highway speed, no problem. So we say it earns the squircle, but unfortunately Ford also jumped on another steering wheel trend that's less fun, touch controls. And notice I'm doing this while we're parked because it's distracting. So this is a touchpad here. So as I move my thumb around, you see it corresponds up here on the screen. So what do I want to do? Let's go okay. So this can now be, it can be volume. If I look at that, I can raise the volume, track, or I can go here. If I need to say adjust the steering wheel, then I go over here and click that. This is not my favorite way to do things when you're driving 70 miles an hour. The cruise control is a little bit easier. This isn't too bad, but it's still not as good as just a button that you can just hit set. And I don't have to think about what's going on here. And I have to look at this. Even though this is nice and high, so it's in your line of sight more than screens normally are when stuff is down here, it's still, this is unnecessary. I will say this is weird. That has a manual mode and it's just push buttons for gears. And of course, as in many Fords, the Pro Trailer Assist knob is about the easiest thing to reach, as if that's the thing that you're going to be using all the time. All right, I didn't know that I needed this in my life, but the power sliding console, when it's up here, it actually creates like a covered storage area that no one really knows it's there, secret hidey spot. All right, here we have it, the Ford Stealth Performance version of the 3.5 liter EcoBoost Turbo V6. This engine's kind of like an underrated beast. There's a lot of these running around, but it's a really strong engine, whatever you might find it in, and this tune is one of the strongest. 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. You could say it's basically the Raptor tune in this, but it doesn't look like a Raptor. It's subtle. All you see is those painted brake calipers peeking out there. Those are your cue that this is the fast one. Look at how high this intake is. I mean, it's a snorkel really. It goes down here and then back up around. So in order to get water into this thing, look, we're like, that's a good 3 feet up. I don't think they publish a fording depth on this. Fording depth. The V6 is mostly very quiet. Like they have it tuned so it's just forget about it. It's not there. Except when you really want to accelerate, and then it's playing this off-kilter warble synthetic sound that's not really what it sounds like. They kind of try to make it sound like a V8. Pretty quick for a big vehicle, pretty quick for any vehicle. Instant stress reliever. 440 horsepower. Fuel economy isn't great, but we saw 22 miles per gallon on our 75-mile-an-hour highway test, which matches the EPA estimate at least. Second row in the Expedition, I mean, this is kind of why you buy a vehicle like this, for it to be ultimately comfy for everybody in here. And really, unless you have to make way for someone really tall in the third row, there's tons of room here. You've got your own climate control, another power outlet, USBs. These seats are heated, and you've got the huge sunroof in front of you. Not a bad place to spend some time if you're not driving. All right, the all-important third row access. I just press that button, out of the way, and I'm out. Not quite as convenient as a minivan, but not too far off. Okay, so probably the only circumstance in which this vehicle seems anything less than huge is if you have a car full of people with the third row up and everyone has luggage, because there's not that much room behind the third row. If you need this area to be bigger, that's where the Expedition Max comes in. That's the one that's more like a Chevy Suburban size version of the Expedition. But if you have these seats down, lots of room. Pricing starts in the low $60,000 range and can go past $90,000 for the most loaded versions. That roughly lines up with the Expedition's obvious competition, which is Chevy Tahoe, GMC Yukon, and Jeep Grand Wagoneer. But the Expedition is so nice, we also wonder if it's grabbing a few sales from its ritzy cousin, the Lincoln Navigator, which can cost more than $120,000 and make sure everyone knows it. For us, we'll stick with the Stealth.